And now for something completely different. A book tour video about the book.
Yay! Cool. So, tell us a bit about this book called Leaps of Faith. I understand this is not the first time it's come out.
No, it actually came out in electronic version in 2002 from Francis Isidore Press, which is a very small electronic press. And it folded, about a year later. So we've been searching for a print home for it ever since then.
And how did you come to put this together back then?
Well, Karina and I are both really big science fiction fans, and we got to talking about it, thinking about it, and the one thing that has been missing in a lot, not all, but a lot of modern science fiction is faith and religion. It's sort of inherent to who we are as human beings, and yet you go to Star Trek or any of the popular culture science fiction, and it's just not there. And that didn't seem to make sense to us, and so we started looking for religious science fiction. And there wasn't a lot there. We decided we'd start writing some, and that evolved into an anthology with us and several other authors.
And how did you find these other authors?
We put out calls, mostly on Yahoo groups, and Raylan picked it up. Pretty much that was it. It was word of mouth. It started with the Catholic Writers Guild and also with the Christfic 2 Yahoo group and spread from there. It took us about a year to actually find stories that we were really satisfied with as well, because we had 3 requirements. One, it had to have strong science, believable within the story. So if you couldn't just have a warp drive, and you couldn't just reverse the polarity of something. You had to actually have things that made sense from a science fiction standpoint. Then you also had to have a strong faith. You couldn't just stick a preacher man in there and, ooh, look, it's a Christian story. They had to be integral to the plot and to what was going on. And the third thing was that they had to have a positive interaction. We didn't want to see the stalwart scientist against the superstitious preacher or the so-good preacher against the terrible atheistic scientist. We wanted to see what we consider the real future, where you are going to have people who are going to be fine with science and with faith. Because that's what we think is really what our future is all about.
That's great. So, tell me how you came to find your publisher for the current edition.
Karina did most of the work on that.
And it really just sort of happened. We had some friends that I'd made that told me about the Catholic Writers Online group. And I joined that. I think it was from AOL, somebody mentioned it, and then I joined that. And Catherine Lively was just starting this because she wanted to do religious fiction. And she was thinking, I'll start this out as an electronic press, and maybe I can develop from there. And she asked us for ideas. So I sent her some of the stories that Rob and I had done about an order of spacefaring nuns, the Rescue Sisters. She loved them, but didn't feel that a full anthology of just Rescue Sister stories, the market wasn't ready for that. So she suggested that we broaden our base, that we look beyond Catholic and look at Christian stories in general and just go with the science fiction. So we did that. We compiled it all together. We sent it to her, and she came back and said, why don't we call this Leaps of Faith? And that we have a story in there called Leap of Faith. So she pulled the idea off of that. And she designed the first cover, which was a really cool-looking cover. Submitted it to the Effie Awards. It was a finalist for Best Anthology. She did a lot of really nice stuff to get the word out there about the book, and it was too early in the market, I think, for electronic press, especially for something as small as that. She's since moved on. She's now an editor at Mundania and doing very well there. She's quite happy. And we're moving on ourselves.
Right, so anything else you'd like to say about maybe the current publisher, or has it been published in the second time?
Cynthia is terrific.
Yay!
Yay for Cynthia, and yay for Scott, too. Cynthia was a little edgy at first about doing an anthology because anthologies traditionally don't sell very well. So, note to readers, if you like this kind of stuff, you need to put a little bit of your voting through your pocketbook, okay? Go ahead and buy a copy and show people that this is the kind of things that you want to save. But she took a leap of faith with us and has published it. She and I think Scott designed this absolutely terrific cover.
Yeah, I was there when they did it.
Yep. And is doing her best to make sure that we have all of the distribution that we need, and we're working on trying to get the word out there. It is a terrific read.
Cool. Anything else you want to say?
Is it on our website?
Well, for more information, it's at leapsoffaithsf.com, and that or www.fabianspace.com will get you into all of the various books that Karina and I have written together, or that Karina's written by herself. So hope to see you all out there.
Will do. Thank you.
Bye.